And it says we are live. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in for this evening's Great Awakening Town Square Roundtable discussion. And today I will be joined by Eric Sullivan and Tommy Patterman from Consent of the Governed. And we will also be joined by Phil, the Modern Guru. Collectively tonight, we are the Four Horsemen of Freedom. And we're going to get this show started for you. So bear with me. All right, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I always got to thank the sponsors of Rice TV X. Always got to shout out Presearch and Monarch. I always appreciate what they do to support the channel. So make sure you're checking them out. I've got links down below for previous interviews, playlist, and where you can check out their websites individually. So make sure you're doing that. I do appreciate everybody for tuning in. I do want to encourage everybody to make sure they hit that thumbs up because it helps other people to see this video in the YouTube algorithm. And I think tonight's video is going to be an important one considering everything that's happening. Make sure you're following me on Library and Odyssey, where I have backups of all my videos. And I also post up extra content there as well. And that's where you'll find me just in case YouTube decides to delete my channel. Links are down below for Library and Odyssey. Also, you can support the channel directly and become a patron. So check out my Patreon channel where I post up exclusive content. You get early access to videos. And again, it's a way to support the channel directly. And I did a video just this past Saturday talking about Money Metals Exchange. Make sure you're taking advantage of these dips in prices when you see gold and silver going down a little bit and accumulate dollar cost average and hedge against this coming not only inflation, hyperinflation, but definitely depression coming. So go to moneymetals.com. You can get a free half ounce of silver. If you're a first time buyer, you purchase $100 or more, and you got to use that promo code RICE, RICE, and you get that free half ounce of silver. And it's an additional way to support the channel. Also have to remind everybody that tomorrow, 2 o'clock p.m., I'm super excited about this. Going to have Max Kaiser on the show. So make sure you're tuning in. This is going to be a live interview the day before the inauguration. So I'm definitely looking forward to the conversation I want to be having with Max Kaiser from the Orange Pill podcast and, of course, the Kaiser Report. So there was something I wanted to, I don't know what it was I wanted to say. There was something I wanted to say. But so again, tonight we're joined by Eric Sullivan and Tommy P from Consent of the Governed. And we also have Phil from the Modern Guru on the show. And me and Phil, we used to do content back a couple years ago when we both started our channel. And we did a video just a couple days ago. So I encourage people to check that out if they haven't already. Let me see here. I want to go ahead and pull everybody in one by one here in 1 second. Now I remember what it was I wanted to do. Because there's something really ironic about tomorrow. In case you don't know, I just thought this is kind of worth doing a little share for sure. Because it's so ironic. Isn't it ironic, don't you think, that tomorrow in the United States on June the 19th, it just so happens to be National Popcorn Day. I thought that was hilarious. So I just wanted to highlight that for anybody who's unaware that tomorrow, which is the day before the inauguration, just happens to be National Popcorn Day. Coincidence? Who knows? So we don't have that long to figure it out. So not at all. So what I want to do is I want to pull in Phil first because he's probably one of the ones that most people are unfamiliar with. And again, make sure you check out that video so you can get an idea of who Phil is. But Phil, thanks for joining the conversation tonight, man, for this Town Square Roundtable. I appreciate you joining, man. How's everything going with you today?
It's going good, man. I think that's pretty fitting, having National Popcorn Day right before this inauguration in particular. I think that is very fitting.
Yeah, so much so. I'm going to pull in Mr. Tommy P and the Heartbreakers in the house. from one half of Consent to the Government. He's like half of the COG. So I don't know if he's the CO or the OG. So what's going on, brother?
Oh, not too much, man. Not too much. Just been a little bit on edge and just waiting to see what happens over the next couple of days here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And again, I appreciate you accepting the invitation, because I think that this conversation is going to be an important one, considering everything that's happening. Mm-hmm. We use logic with our discussion. We're not going to be speculating and throwing out any fear porn anyone. So
no, none of that.
If you're here for the fear porn, if you're here for the Simon Parks, Charlie Ward fear porn, then this is not the place that you want to be. No. Speaking of fear porn.
Music. Dude, you're the one that said it in the intro. You say we're the 4 horsemen.
All right, come on, so we don't have an issue with YouTube, because they've been killing me with this stuff, man. They're going to throw up a copyright.
Oh, I was hoping I could go through my whole little "How's It Going" with a little background music from Metallica, but yeah, 4 horsemen,
baby. 4 horsemen. How goes it, Mr. Eric?
I'm feeling a lot like Tommy. I'm very anxious about what's going to happen, but luckily enough, I've been blessed with the ability to stay busy. So that's the one thing, idle hands and all that rubbish. So, but good to see you all, and Modern Guru. It's a pleasure to meet you.
And I'm really happy to be here, guys. Thanks for having me.
Cool. Yeah, let's get it on.
It's gonna be a good one. We're gonna try to keep it civilized, not talk over each other as much as possible. I do want to remind people, if you would like to contribute and tip to the channel, I do have information down below. You can see it scrolling down below as well in the video description, my PayPal, Cash App, and crypto addresses. And also, you can support me by becoming a patron. Not only do I have the Max Kaiser interview coming up tomorrow at 2 p.m. live, but I'm going to be interviewing Andreas Antonopoulos this coming Thursday. Everything's scheduled, so everything permitting, I'll be interviewing Andreas Thursday, and that'll go up immediately on Patreon. So patrons will have immediate access to that video. It's like part of the early access. So consider becoming a patron. I want to real quick highlight everybody who's in our stream right now. We have Shauna Lyons, who's joining us. Thank you for joining us from Florida, Shauna. Casey Rose, Stranger Than Fiction 2020, very cool name. Tom is in the house. I don't think it's Tommy P, but Tom's in the house. Follow the Money. Appreciate you tuning in. Max Frost, Tara Spence. We have Kat Peterson. Kat, thanks for tuning in. Shannon LeGros, Yvette Shinebright, Robert Edward Lee, Abundant. That's an interesting one. Sometimes trying to pronounce these names is just a little bit of a challenge. Falcon Hoof, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate everybody for joining us. We're going to be talking pretty much about, for the most part, everything surrounding what's going on with the election, the speculation, the factual information that we can share, and our thoughts on that. And then at the end, we'll obviously give everybody a chance to kind of do their final thoughts, not only on the conversation, but anything that anyone would like to add to the conversation. We're definitely going to have alien fear porn. That will be in the program. Just so if you have children around, alien.
That's not my expertise, so you guys can handle that.
That's Eric's, because when I said speaking of fear porn, thanks for joining us, Gray Lake and Pepe Sylvia. All right.
So tentacles are sexy, right?
Let me ask you. I want to ask you guys this question. We'll go around in a circle and we'll go reverse order coming in. So we'll go with Eric, then Tom, and then Phil. So, and also I'm going to let me do this real quick while I'm thinking about it, because this is the beginning of the videos, why everybody's here, and I want to make sure people know about this. So make sure that everybody is subscribing. Can you guys see this? Okay, cool. Make sure everybody is subscribed to Consent of the Governed. We need to get these subscriber numbers up. We definitely got them up from the last episode, but make sure you're going over and checking out Eric and Tom's show, Consent to the Governed. Links are down below. And also, speaking of that, I'm going to do one more screen share because we have another YouTube channel to share. And I encourage everybody to make sure you guys are going over and checking out Phil's channel, Modern Guru. So let's get the subscriber number up for him as well. And COG. So you can see the videos that me and Phil did together. It's on my channel and on his channel as well. So make sure you're checking that out just to get that out the way. But please make sure you guys are checking out these guys' channel. They're putting out great information, and I invite them on the show for specific reasons. So definitely support what they do.
Apparently, Robert Edward Lee just signed up. He just subscribed. I got a notification. Thanks, man.
Awesome. Awesome. Shout out to Freedom being in the house. I love Freedom. Freedom is what we're all about because we are the 4 horsemen of freedom.
Don't make me play it again. We get 6 seconds free. 6 seconds free.
Okay. So the first question that I want to ask you guys is, and you can, let's not make it a big long thing, but on Tuesday or on Wednesday, the 20th, we're supposed to have the inauguration of Joe Biden. Do you think that Joe Biden is going to go through the inauguration and come out president and start his term on the 21st? Eric, your thoughts?
President of what country?
Okay.
I mean, it's debatable, right? So there could be an entirely separate corporation that could have been bankrupt and a new one started, and Joe Biden could be president of that, and the news could say that he's your president. The other one could be what, Trump may or may not have signed in the Insurrection Act, and it could be that, separate thing. So at this point, I mean, it's anybody's guess, and I think it's, whether or not you're on either side, it could be either, right? I'm not. I mean, it could be a multiple.
So, I mean, you're at the potential idea we could end up with potentially 2 presidents for the interim.
I think we could see 2 presidents until March 4th. But I wouldn't be surprised if it ended up looking like Independence Day at the Washington Monument. Who the fuck knows at this point? All I know is that I have a lot of questions like, why do you need 26,000 troops in D.C.? A lot of people have been asking that same question. So there's a lot of things that lead me to
increase too. Speaking of, okay,
yeah.
So Tommy, your thoughts?
My thoughts, man, is that. And I don't want to give out any sort of misinformation because that's all that I've been seeing out there lately. And it's really been pissing me off, just seeing a lot of people just really start to jump into this and see it. And some of these bigger influencers are coming out, and just throwing out these erroneous claims, man.
Like your Simon Parks and your Charlie Ward. And
yeah, exactly. And it's like right now, you do not need that. You do not need misinformation. So, to tell you the truth, I don't know what's going to happen. In my opinion, it's possibly either, a military intervention and then possible military tribunals. But I don't know at this point, man. I really don't. And I'm not going to tell anybody that I do. And that, I mean, I just, we have pretty much all been looking at the same channels and the same, I'm not going to call them echo chambers, but just social media platforms and whatnot. And we know what's BS and what's, that's whitehouse.gov. So that's legit, so we have a lot of clues and we have a lot of confusion on both sides, lots of misinformation on both sides. And it seems as of right now that this is some sort of technological war on people's brains. And so I'm not sure. But I think it's either going to be, and this is the problem too. When you start looking at the effect, if there is a Biden inauguration, how long is that guy going to last, man? I mean, old man Biden is not doing so hot. And so you have to look at what's going to happen there. And then what about, impeachment going forward where you actually have proof on this? and where now you cannot not only go after a president, but now you can go after, the administration because of illegal activities. So there's a lot of question on what could actually happen here.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I appreciate you being transparent with not really being sure, because it's
Nobody is.
yeah. Philip, Modern Guru.
I'm just gonna be straightforward and honest. It may not be what people want to hear, but I think Biden's the next president. Didn't want that to happen personally. I think that everything that we've seen going on in the last 3-4 months has been the empire striking back and letting us know who's in charge. And that's why they need 30,000 troops, black attack helicopters, tanks, 50 caliber machine guns mounted on the back of trucks to protect their corporate empire that was sort of lifted from them in 2016. So,
Hey,
Well, okay. I mean, what I can say with that, from a logical standpoint, if you don't look into, if you're not really an open-minded person and you're not looking at another perspective and you're just following the mainstream news and the narrative that's being put out, because of all the censorship, we know that there's a narrative that's being pushed. When you think of all that, and then the fact that they say Biden won the election, the Electoral College has said he won the election. As of now, unless something else happens, and I said this to Eric privately, unless something else was to take place between now and then, and we're in the final hours. So if it doesn't, then yeah, Biden is technically going to be the next president of the United States of America. Now, again, why is there over 20,000 troops? That's to me a really good question. And I'm also trying to do a little bit of a screen share. What are you saying, Phil?
30,000.
Yeah, I think they're up to 30 now.
Yep.
Up to 30?
Yeah.
30,000 troops to protect the inauguration.
And then
Yeah.
2,000 were what the heck was that? They were shit.
the oldest militia in the nation.
Hold on, 2,000 were.
Okay, so there we are. We're live. And so I wanted to highlight a few things because I made sure I shared these things for this particular reason so I can pull it all up on here. Speaking of censorship, Gab has been, I don't know if they're having server issues or they've been taken down, but if you go to Wikipedia on Gab, this is what it says. Basically, it's for neo-Nazis, white supremacists, white nationalists, and alt-right. It's crazy. But what I wanted to show people, and also shout out to one of the renegades of funk, Mr. Martin Luther King Jr. Rest in peace.
Absolutely.
Definitely got to show some respect on that. I mean, unfortunately, with everything going on, it seems like people aren't really thinking about it. It's not really being celebrated the way it would be normally. Now, this, I asked Eric his thoughts, and we'll kind of go on this in a minute, but this is the next thing that I wanted to highlight because I felt this was very, very, very interesting. And this happened this morning at 9:00 this morning. This was posted saying that Chief Lamont Ruffin from DC District Court swears in 2,000 National Guard troops as special duty U.S. Marshals prior to the upcoming presidential inauguration. And you can go to the website. It's got like videos and more pictures like this showing the swearing in and stuff. What are your guys' thoughts on this? And I guess we'll go with Tommy, Phil, and then Eric.
Well, excuse me. I was going to bring that up too. I find just the overwhelming amount of military presence out there is really it's odd. And who sent it out?
That was actually from the U.S. Marshals Twitter.
No, but just even more though than that. Like I know I saw that today, but like who sent out all these troops? Who ordered all of the 26,000 troops out to DC?
Great question.
What I can say without identifying anyone is I do know somebody, and nothing can be mentioned about this. So just keep it chill on our end, Eric. But we know somebody who's in DC, and what he's telling me is basically they're there to support the Capitol Police, and they're not really given any other orders. I'm asking him, do they have like contingency plans and things like that? He's saying, you know, I just take orders, you know. So he doesn't even really know what's going on. I sent pictures today asking, you know, what's going on, because I saw some videos about a potential fire or evacuation of the Senate building, and then I seen pictures of like fires underneath bridges that were creating smoke, and I sent Eric the pictures. I don't know. And so I asked Eric why, and then I'm asking this guy why, and it's just, and why is it National Guard and not any sort of technical military? They got Air Guard and National Guard.
So you can go on the whitehouse.gov website from last week. It was a release that Trump made, and it was FEMA, through FEMA. This is what this is all. This is
right.
All
this is the one guy stepping down. I can't remember the position.
It wasn't him that released it.
Well, there was a guy that stepped down, and then one of the main guy behind FEMA stepped up as like state director. What is it, Eric, that he stepped? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
We talked about it last time.
Yeah, he's got a really funky last name, and I wish I pulled it up. Caught me off guard. Couldn't do my homework. Get to me at the end of it, and I could probably find it.
Chad Wolf resigns because he said that basically he had no power or authority, and so he stepped down. And then the FEMA administrator Pete Gaynor took over.
But what was he? What position was he? Chad Wolf.
Chad Wolf is resigning as the acting security of Homeland Security. So now you have the guy in charge, the director as the head of Homeland Security now.
So that should probably raise even more questions than it answers, right?
So,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, so that being said, though, so knowing who sent the troops over, isn't that confusing as all hell? I mean, you know, I mean, that's why I'm looking at the situation going like, why would he's going to be gone? And
who's technically president right now? Who's the only person that could really technically call these orders?
Yeah, but why would you do it?
Why? That's the golden question right now.
So that doesn't make any sense to me. And then, sending out the 182nd Division too, and I mean, there's 30,000 troops out there.
Everybody thumbs up. Somebody wants to. He's like, "Can I get a thumbs up from one of you guys so you can prove this is actually live?" Phil, you're not gonna thumbs. Oh, you're an ass, Phil.
You're the best, Phil.
Phil, your thoughts and opinions on what we just mentioned with the FEMA stuff, in addition to the U.S. Marshals situation.
I mean, Trump stated in that document that was released on the White House's website that this was in response to the violence at the Capitol on the 6th to protect basically private property, public property, and the protection of life, I believe were the words he used. So beyond that, I don't know. We can all speculate. I hope, you can hope for the best, but, in my opinion, I just think this is the protection of the corporate class that just took.
Well, what would you like to, in your wishful thinking, what would you like to see transpire without being the half glass empty kind of guy?
I honestly would like to see them arrested for crimes of high treason against the United States, but I highly doubt that that's what's going to happen.
Do you think the reverse could happen?
The reverse? What do you mean?
Meaning the people that were talking about possibly arresting people for treason themselves being arrested for treason.
I don't think many of it's only going to be like Biden and some congressional people. Like there's no Trump people that are going to be. I know Ivanka said she wanted to attend, but I don't know if that was going to happen or not. You certainly won't see Kushner there.
No.
So,
well said.
I don't think Cuomo's going to be there either.
I wouldn't want him there either.
I don't know who's going to be attending when it comes to once again, sorry to interrupt. I'm just this is where all the confusion happens too, where it's like, I've got my normal way of thinking at things, my mainstream media way of thinking, about situations, and then my conspiracy, and every single one is going like, what the fuck? Like, I have no idea.
Normally you'd see like the former and new president and some of their cabinet members and some of their important people all there together as a peaceful transition. This looks like it's going to be like nothing to do with anybody Trump related.
So does that look like a peaceful transfer of power when you have 30,000 troops, tanks, attack helicopters? I mean, basically what that looks like to me is what I would call a failed state, but from your perspective.
Yes.
Okay, Eric, you get a chance to go ahead and share your thoughts with the FEMA director stuff, which we talked about before, and then the U.S. Marshal stuff more specifically.
So I'm gonna end with the U.S. Marshals, and I'm gonna start with the failed state stuff. Obviously, nobody's heard anything about Joe Biden regaining his Pentagon intelligence, I guess, classification to start his peaceful transition of power regarding intelligence. It got stripped away from him and it never got given back. Okay. So we can start there. That's questionable. I mean, at best, right? So we're going to hand this guy the football and what? He's not even wearing pads, So let's just start there. Right. I mean, it's speculation. We can start moving on from that point and work our way forward down the through time and see what has happened. And you can actually see 30,000 troops move in now, right? And nobody knows who's actually at the helm. So then all of a sudden, Ezra Cohen Watnick, which I like to put out there, he quoted a tweet today, 5 hours ago, from the Secretary of Defense, Chris Miller. And before I do that, I should say that early this morning, Biden put out that he will be demoting certain Secret Service members because he feels that they may be too, I guess, they're too affiliated with Trump and they're too gravitated towards Trump's gravitas. They're going to be on Trump's side. So he's demoting people already. And then all of a sudden I read this and it says, this is from Ezra Cohen Watnick, as is normal for military support to large security events, the department will vet National Guardsmen who are in Washington, D.C. While we have no intelligence indicating an insider threat, we are leaving no stone unturned in securing the Capitol. Secretary of Defense Chris Miller. And then after that, obviously, you then have 2,000 National Guardsmen end up, signing on with the U.S. Marshals. And in my opinion, the only reason why you make National Guardsmen sign on to U.S. Marshals is to give them at least some sort of jurisdiction when it comes to being able to not only arrest people, but also be able to show up in court and act accordingly in federal crimes and especially in military tribunals. Just speculation that that's what's going to do, but I do know that the U.S. Marshals were moved, as well as the United States Secret Service was moved into the Department of Homeland Security as of 2018. So it's interesting.
I didn't realize I was muted. Has anybody seen or heard this?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All of you? Yes?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it was kind of like routine stuff, but going back through, I mean, are you gathering anything from this as to who sent the National Guard?
Yes.
General William Walker, the commanding general of the District of Columbia National Guard. Majors, thank you for joining us this morning. Can you start out by saying what the current threat level is? Do you have what you need in place to counter it?
Good morning, sir. I do believe we have everything. If I could first say happy holiday for Dr. Martin Luther King, and please allow me to say how proud I am of the almost 25,000 National Guardsmen who have come in from all 50 states and territories to help support the Secret Service and the police departments with a peaceful transition of military power. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
A peaceful transition of military power. A peaceful transition of military power. That's what you said, right?
Yep.
What does that mean? It doesn't sound like a peaceful transition of administration.
I think what he's trying to say is that the transfer of power between commander and chiefs. I mean, that's what he means by military power.
That's questionable because commander in chief only means so much given any certain time frame.
Play it again, just real quick.
Transition of military power. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you for that, sir.
So the question was with a peaceful transition of military power. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
With a peaceful transition of military power.
I mean, it's possible that it's just meaning like changing commander in chief. I can see that. I'm not saying that is the case, but definitely looking at this from an open-minded perspective. I wasn't reading into it that much, but saying they're there to support the Secret Service and the Capitol Police. Who would order that? Eric.
I think you have three different options, right? So Trump has never once said there's going to be a transition of power from him to the Biden administration.
No, he just said a peaceful transition is all he said.
Of power, right.
Or peaceful transition of administrations.
Right. So is it going to...
I did not mention Biden's name specifically.
Right. Is it going to Pompeo? Is it going to Chris Miller? Who's it going to, right? Because if this guy's coming on live TV and saying a peaceful transition of military power, is he talking about just who's running the military? Or is he talking about, like what you guys are saying, commander in chief doesn't mean that they're the commander in chief of the military. In any given day, that normal circumstances, the president is only in charge of the Marines, and that's about it. Other than that, it has to go through the Pentagon. So the Army, the Navy, the Air Force is all going through the Pentagon and various certain, hierarchies of power. Due to the fact that Trump has been under a national emergency signed by all 50 states that are all under a state of emergency, that makes him in charge of every facet of military. So go ahead.
I would add one thing to that. I was trying to think of different references going back, and that could be, maybe you're right about that in one instance where they were lying to him about the troop counts in Afghanistan, where he literally had Pentagon officials lying to him.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't pull troops out of there when he
promised
he would.
Yeah. But then he just cleaned out all of the Henry Kissinger and everybody else out of the Pentagon, right? So there's also that. Now all of a sudden you're looking at, did he actually take over the Pentagon? Did he actually take over all of the military? Did he take over all of this stuff? And we're going to see a transition of power, not from Trump to Trump or from Trump to Biden, but Trump to military. It's a question because that's still on the table with that guy's speech.
So Shannon says, explain the razor wire and all the heavy metal fencing and off to the state agencies and buildings. And then I've noticed, and I've even asked, apparently this fence looks like it could have been installed, that it's in a way designed to keep people in the fence, not to keep people out of the fence. So any speculation on that? Eric, we got to give Tom a chance to talk to you because Tom's over there running his mouth, man.
No, it's all right, man. I'm stoned to the bone. I took a big old hit before we got on today.
Okay, go ahead, Eric. You can speak for Tom then.
This is answer a question with a question. So while we're all wondering what that fence is all about and how many troops are in Washington, D.C., and that's all there is on mainstream media, we should probably start looking at all of the other cities that are really hard to control and figure out why there's so many troops there. Why are we so focused on that? And why would you have the narrative you do in mainstream media and not mention all of the troops that are sitting in Wisconsin at the the Capitol there, or sitting in North Carolina at the Capitol there.
Is it in various capitals that there's people gathering?
All 50.
All 50 states.
But they're only talking about Washington, D.C. as if we're worried about Trump supporters coming in and busting that open again. That's the original idea. Why are they neglecting to think about all of the Trump supporters breaking into Michigan or breaking into Phoenix or breaking into anywhere else? Just a question. Just keep it on your mind while you're thinking about all this.
This Henry Bob Swillikers, this kind of goes in what Phil's been saying, but the total corrupt and lawless government has to protect itself from their own script to finish and complete totalitarian control of the people. And I mean, that's
questionable.
Kind of in a way, the whole Empire Strikes Back and, just flexing. And
I want to comment on that for that question or suggestion, but I want to let Tom talk though. So.
Oh no, go for it, man. You can totally comment on that.
Tom said he got high before we were streaming, so he doesn't mind. He doesn't mind being more of a listener today, is what he's saying.
I want to know where everyone's at.
To respond to the gentleman that you just highlighted there, our government no longer works. Okay, it's a failed state. What you're seeing right now is ceremony, stage acting. That's what they're good for now. It's all this arbitrary nonsense that they, pass on to the masses in explaining it. Like, and you have Chris, if you watch your video when you were in DC, all those people, peaceful, loving, totally awesome people.
Well,
right? I watch videos of other people, not just yours. It's all the same stuff.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's what I said. Those people were not there to attack. None of us were there. I wasn't even there in support of Trump, but you're right. And in that video too, ironically, while the breach was happening, people were out there singing Christian hymns.
Yeah. And what I'm trying to say is well, how have they explained this incident since the 6th? Every day it's the same barrage of the same bullshit. I mean, it's racist, white nationalist, and it was like, MAGA idiots and Antifa idiots. Supposedly now, they caught a couple of them in there that did this act. Mm-hmm. But they're using that to portray everybody as these wild, crazy circus clowns that want to take over the United States government, which is the farthest thing from the truth. So what I'm trying to say is this production they're putting, the stage is set with the helicopters, the tanks, the heavy guns, like as if we're under duress in this country and we're under the threat of these white nationalist crazy people that are going to take the government over. When they don't really address what the real problem is, all these people that have gone to the way left and to the way right who are totally unsatisfied with the government that they're getting from these people. And then they talk about how we're all violent. Do they not understand that the United States was beget from a violent insurrection against the crown? Do they forget all the violence that they do across this planet? Drone bombing people, 127 wars or skirmishes since inception. I mean, this is all stage theater. It's a ceremony. That's all they're good at now. It's TMZ.
Right. And in my opinion,
hold on 1 second. Let me just say something here, Sully.
Oh shit! No. Go ahead.
Well, that's why it's so confusing, because we know who sent the National Guard out there. We see these people getting sworn in. Lord only knows who else is out there. I mean, when it comes to optics like that, what you are able to see is obviously not the truth. Why would I understand Phil's perspective of where to push that, ultimate fear mongering, and what a better way to do it than they, look at how divided we are and how much we have to worry about security. That, hell, they introduced a bill today. I think I saw they're trying to about building a permanent wall around the White House, and around the state capitol. And the problem is, man, I just don't know what to believe. Like, Biden didn't bring those people in. Trump did. Why would Trump bring those people in? So those not necessarily soldiers, but soldiers, National Guard. If and him not even going to be in there, and really not that worried. I mean, when you honestly see all the facts that surrounded the January 6th situation at the state capitol, it was such a show, an absolute show. I mean, anybody with a cell phone that threw anything out on the internet was like, what the F? I mean, I was watching some of the video where that Babbitt girl got shot when she was trying to get in there. There was nothing but state police behind her with ARs. Like, it was weird. I'm like, what in the hell? What? Why are they back behind her? She's getting in, and then she gets shot by some dude with a face mask coming around the corner here. Like, and then seeing what, Conan the Barbarian there, running into the was it the Senate? What
they took the Congress. Yeah, they took the House.
Or to the House.
Yeah.
Running into that particular room, and the cop came in and was like, "Oh man, if I could just, you guys cool? Could I ask you to leave?" And he's like, yeah, it was like, really? Like, nothing really added up, and nothing really happened besides that gal being shot, and I guess somebody was pushed off something, and somebody got hit in the head with something. I don't know, man. There were a lot of people there. I mean, more shit happens at a Pantera concert, I think, like, where people die.
I actually thought about that. The mosh pit is definitely was a little bit more violent than DC.
And then all the video and photos that you saw as well were just so it was kind of like a Biden presidential rally. There was like 8 people in the photos, and they're like hanging out like in line, following the rules. It was just really weird.
Did you guys hear about this at all?
Yes.
Where the police are investigating whether lawmakers gave rioters a tour of the Capitol before the siege. The Capitol Police are looking into whether members of Congress inappropriately gave visitors access to the Capitol ahead of last week's assault. Vice President Mike Pence called President-elect Kamala Harris to offer assistance, and it goes through all this different stuff. But there is video footage out that talks about whether or not there was a tour that took place, whether or not it was Democrat led. It looks kind of very, very interesting, considering that some of the people involved in this were apparently arrested and are being identified as Antifa.
Yeah, and there were 17 Capitol Police that either were fired or reprimanded for letting people in, which is the comment that Shannon had on the side there.
Mm-hmm.
They were involved in it. That's where you saw those videos of the Capitol Police removing the horses and waving them in. Those guys were arrested. So
yeah,
it's just a lot of shit surrounding all this stuff. It's just so much.
It's one giant circus, bro. It's a gong show. This is one hell of a stage production. I mean, the freaking Hollywood couldn't do better than this. This is Nancy Pelosi's stage to act now.
And what have you seen that has been the growing trend of the last 4 years? Has been one department against another. Even though we have like 17, 18 different intelligence departments, they're all fighting each other. In this one article, they talked not only about Capitol Police, but they started to mention Secret Service. And I was trying to read it as you went there because I haven't seen that article yet. But I saw a little snippet of it, and every single one of those people, including Nancy Pelosi, have a Secret Service detail. Where were they? I mean, where are all these people? Like, who's assigning? I mean, every time that what the hell's the word? Custody, right? So there's a chain of custody of not just people but paperwork. There's a chain of custody when you enter a certain building. Somebody else has that jurisdiction. So we're talking about the National Guard, and now with a national emergency, people have different jurisdictions, and then 2,000 people are being deputized under U.S. Marshals. That's all that is a dance around jurisdiction. So if all of a sudden all of these people are getting fired from Capitol Police, is there a jurisdictional matter there? I mean, what's the actual matter? Why why is there no Secret Service backing up all of these people that should be representing us hiding under their chairs? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's all of it leads, like, every time I think I'm getting an answer, I'm getting more questions. And the narrative doesn't make sense. None of this makes sense. And every time I've ever been in this position, the number one thing I can do is say, counter trade the news. Whatever the news is saying, just understand that's not it. So,
You know, it would be really funny, not funny, but if, because I don't know, my brain just kind of like snapped in here that the word inauguration and insurrection. It'd be kind of crazy if January 20th becomes known as Insurrection Day instead of Inauguration Day. I don't know how, if you know, that.
I think
we should start a metal band called
Insurrection Day.
No, Insurrectional Inauguration.
Dude, I'm very interested to see, obviously not what happens in the next 2 days, but how the world goes on dealing with, like, the world's just going to keep on spinning, right? And we could end up pushing the goalposts to March 4th, or, you know, anybody on the other side, globalists, could just keep pushing their goalposts. And the funny thing is that the only thing that's holding those goalposts up, the only footers that are holding those poles up, are the people, are us. If we just ignored them and stopped paying taxes, all of this would have been done. You know, we'd have already won this battle. But I mean, we still give all of our attention to the news, and we give our attention to you know, all of this.
Yeah, and I mean, we're sitting here. I mean, this is some serious stuff. I mean, people are getting a little bit of a history lesson into U.S. history. They're getting a history lesson into the Constitution, into how politics actually work.
Civics.
Yeah, it's crazy. So today, I haven't even told you this yet, Eric.
What do you got?
I was messaging Miss V.
Oh shit!
And she just said, "Are you ready for dual reality soon?"
Fucking called it.
And I said, "Elaborate." I said, "Are we talking Trump versus Biden, 3D versus 5D, ET versus humans, baby Jesus versus baby Lucifer?" And she says, "Two presidents." And I asked, "Do you think that Biden will be arrested?" And her response was just basically a buffer between, let's see how Kamala's swearing goes in tomorrow. And I asked you that. Does the vice president swear in the day before? Or does the vice president swear in the same day, but prior to the president being sworn in?
Traditionally,
she said the vote has to be proven to be accepted. Arrest already done, just to be completed. I don't know.
Don't the vice presidents swear in on the Senate floor a couple days later?
Yes. I was just going to say
I'm
that.
not 100% on that, so don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure I remember them swearing in on the Senate floor. I don't know.
Yep. No, you're right, because they actually confirm the entire inauguration and do all of that stuff, because normally you're met with conceding, right? Somebody concedes.
They
just hammer it all out there at the inauguration.
Kamala Harris signing in is going to be kind of like how the dance starts.
Oh,
is what she's relaying. So,
so they're gonna try and swear her in early.
It sets the stage. She's saying that Kamala is supposed to be sworn in tomorrow. That's why I texted you earlier asking you when the vice president was being sworn in. I forgot to go back and look at it because I've been on.
She officially resigned her
today.
She did.
And then you see that message from Pelosi? Was it to what alphabet agency was that to? I can't remember. About Michael Ellis, like Trump appointing Michael Ellis to the head of the department, and she was like, "Don't do it. You can't let him do this."
Ooh.
What are your thoughts, Phil?
I didn't see that.
I can't remember what agency it was. It wasn't FBA. It was something else. And I mean, this was like a letter of desperation, and it was like, you need to, put the kibosh on this. So there might be something there. Once again, I just want to throw this out there again too. There's so much that can happen in the future, whatever happens, if there ever is a legitimate or illegitimate Biden administration or inauguration.
I mean, you guys tell me if I'm right or wrong. This is my perspective, me moving forward.
That's all we have is our perspective, man.
Right. I like I said at the start of the show, I don't know what's going to happen, guys. I can only guess, right? None of us know that are sitting here anyways. Mm-hmm. So we do our best to just think through, process all the information, come up with the conclusions that we can. What I will say is, though, if Biden does take over, and this is just a normal, well, I don't know if you call this normal, but if it's a transition of power, technically the way it's supposed to happen, we need to all figure out a way to unite and start going after corporate America. Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm tired. I'm very tired of being ruled over by the plutocracy and the billionaire classes. I'm done with it. So, in that
plutocracy turns me on just saying plutocracy. It's such
there you go. But what has to happen is we need to find a way for us to unite with the people that are in the middle, with the people that are on the the right and the left, not the fringe psychopaths with no empathy. I'm not talking about the sociopaths. I'm talking about everyday average Americans need to find a way to unite over the things that we can commonly agree on and stop with all the other bullshit. Because this is never going to end. We are going to live under a corporate plutocracy and our children and their children until this place is nuked for the rest of our lives. And I don't want to be in that. I really don't. So.
Me neither, man.
Well, I say
no more races, none of that bullshit. Let's go on economics. Let's all agree on economics and let's go after the corporations.
I did just get a text too from so-and-so saying that the vote has to be counted for the fraud to be concluded. Expect some charges that are crazy until February 20th.
I'd imagine that was probably by somebody.
The same person I was mentioning.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I figured.
And I would say that at this point, anything is possible. And I think we were talking earlier, you make the people believe the unbelievable. They never think a pandemic would ever roll over and disrupt their lives in such a major way in this day and age. And it did. And that just completely threw them out of whack. And they're like, well, where are the fucking aliens, man? I mean, like, what are we waiting for? Like, I'm ready for anything. So I think you can expect the unexpected.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that right there is like the one thing I think that we know for sure is that we can definitely expect the unexpected.
I have no clue.
As I said in the intro, I mean, I would not be surprised if we saw an Independence Day alien nuke the Washington Monument. Wouldn't surprise me if that's the reason why there's a fence up around.
Probably damned.
I'd be sitting there going like, "Oh shit, I'm glad I'm not there." Yeah. But this entire thing. Hold on. I got this new pen. It's genius. This thing is awesome. Anyway.
I want to highlight this real quick. I am looking into American States Assembly. I am possibly going to go through the paperwork process and help support the cause. I'm not sure what my involvement will be and 100% if I'm going to be going through this. If I do, I'm also going to be going down a couple other paths as well. I'm basically going to be just covering myself and covering my ass in as many different ways that I possibly can, looking into the American passport idea, also looking into the American States Assembly by changing my status to either a state national or state citizen. So appreciate you saying that, Freedom. And I definitely would encourage people to do their own research when it comes to this stuff. Don't do something because I'm doing it. I've been hesitant to even mention it because of that, but yeah, I like that flag. That flag is supposed to be our civilian flag,
flag.
Our peace flag. And I would like to see this be
That's what we're supposed to be flying right now.
Right. It should be flown, and I'd like to see it be flown again.
And just to reiterate, what's that?
I'm flying this one.
You're flying. That's your flag.
My fucking Patriot Stormtrooper, bro. It's time.
It's the same thing. Yeah. That's the Empire right there.
Freedom.
Hey, just Phil, that's the Empire right there. That big American flag with the Stormtrooper, that's the Empire. The other one is Luke waving a banner on a lightsaber that is the peace flag. That's the rebels, man. That's the one.
If you put that flag in that Stormtrooper outfit, it would be a lot better because your Stormtrooper has the
no Stormtroopers. No Stormtroopers. Luke, the rest of the cats. Yeah.
Well, at one point, man, the
this is what they're trying to make
clone
us
army was for the like the good guys at the time. They were the Republic.
Well, that would be the 13 stars in a circle with the 13 stripes.
I've got at the most in me about 20 minutes, which I'm good with that. And we're going to give everybody a couple of minutes to do final thoughts. Is there anything that anybody wants to mention, highlight, or bring up that we haven't talked about in regards to what's happening with Trump, Biden, inauguration, speculation, and facts that we know?
Get your popcorn.
True.
Popcorn day. Come on.
It's National Popcorn Day.
Hey,
You're going to need vodka, whatever it is. Just get whatever you need to get through this day.
Yep. And this isn't going to be over on the 20th. For everybody that's sitting there going like, oh, as soon as the 20th, I'll know. If Biden's elected, I'll riot. If Trump, takes everything over with the military, I'll riot. It ain't going to happen like that. When Trump was elected, what happened with Obama running around the entire world acting as a second president? That's all he did. It was two different presidencies. We had two different diplomacies around the world. And what's going to end up happening is pretty much the same, in my opinion. The only difference is it's going to appear like Biden has been doing it for, 3 months, probably into March. And then all of a sudden the plug is going to get pulled and you're going to see something else. And the whole time for that, what's that?
He was running around the world to get $500,000 a pop on a speech.
Who?
Obama.
Oh no! If you look into the Iran deal, yeah, he was doing a lot more than that. He was cleaning up a lot of the Hillary Clinton mess.
Oh, okay. I think
he was doing. Yeah, he was basically trying to say, hey, we're still in this, even though Trump got elected. We'll just, do this. That's why Obama followed. If you look at where Trump went and spoke, especially in the first year and a half when he was dealing with Saudi Arabia a lot, just go and watch who in the Obama administration would follow Trump around one after the other. And just take a look at that trend. And I mean, you'll see a lot. I mean, the other thing, my opinion, way out there, if you really want to get into the alien shit, go look and figure out why John Kerry went to Antarctica the day Trump was elected, and the day after.
Why did he go?
Why would the sitting Secretary of State? Why would the sitting? That's like
a lot of religious leaders went and stuff. Yeah, people definitely need to look into Antarctica. We can have an Antarctica episode someday.
Well, that would all of a sudden be like Secretary of State Pompeo taking a trip to the moon. Like, what the hell? I mean, in this 4 years, it's been so crazy. The equivalency of watching John Kerry go to Antarctica would be Pompeo going to the moon right now. So just understand that a lot of things have to happen, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if there was something. I'm not saying there is this gigantic plan, but it wouldn't surprise me if there was a plan to show a secondary presidency. And that's what I was saying at the beginning of this and before. We're going to see two presidencies for sure, because we're going to see 2, maybe even 3 jurisdictions. And I know one of the constitutions was already squashed. We talked about this on our podcast with Rice last week. That's just how it is. We have all of these compacts and contracts with all of these different states and diplomacy. And now Space Force is doing diplomacy intergalactically. we have to think about all of these things, and I think that's already been thought about. And again, grab your popcorn. Phil, thank you. Grab the popcorn, watch the show, because
wasn't John Kerry the guy that when he ran for president to show all of us middle class and lower class people the cattle that he was a regular guy? Didn't he like go like kite surfing? Filmed him like kite surfing so he could show that he wasn't.
Yeah,
that was pretty, I remember that when I was a little kid. I was dying.
He's also he's really a regular guy, because the news also let everything go about his wedding and marriage to a Iranian princess.
Wasn't he married to the Heinz lady, the Heinz ketchup?
Well, go and look up who his wife is. He's married into the Iranian families. He is like straight up Iranian. Yeah, immediate family Iranian ties.
Well, what I do know is his son was partying with Burisma.
Yeah,
he was partying with Hunter.
Yeah, I think his son is part of the Heinz, but I'm pretty sure he's married to an Iranian fucking.
No, he's married to Teresa Heinz. She's the one that owns.
Which one of these assholes in the John Kerry family are married to an Iranian princess? I know that.
Son.
It could be a son. It's an immediate family member, whether it's in-law of some sort, married straight into the Iranian. That's one of the reasons why you saw the Iran deal, $750 billion cash in pallets, go straight to Iran.
Well, he was cashing in on the Ukraine, and he was using his son just like Joe was with Burisma. They were both on that board.
I would not doubt it.
Yeah.
One of those assholes is there handling that business.
But at least I'll admit this. At least his son had business experience, even if it wasn't in the energy realm. You know, Hunter was just a crackhead that got hooked up.
So we know. I mean, so we know.
So much.
So we know. I mean, we.
You know what the best thing about smoking crack is, Sully?
Your next bag of crack.
Yeah, smoking more crack.
Smoking more crack. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that all of these fools have done their shit. But the one thing that I've always done for the last 20 years is always ask questions of the government. And you made a very interesting statement, Phil, when you talked about Kushner, that you wouldn't trust Kushner.
I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him.
And he's skinny as shit.
He's a neocon, dude. He's Mossad. His dad was too. They were mobsters in New York. I mean, that's how I met him.
So what do you trust this administration, whether it be the one that we're going to have for 2 days, more than you trust the Biden administration?
I would have said yes prior to Trump putting in Bolton. When he put Bolton in, I knew it was over. The war criminal Busher.
Well,
I mean, the one thing, this is the thing I can take away from the Trump presidency. I mean, this is what I can take away from the Trump presidency. He brought back 500,000 jobs. Give or take a few. He didn't start us another war somewhere. He got some troops out. He fought China a little bit, but that's all going to be rescinded now with Biden coming in. So and he built what, 17 miles of wall that's finished? I mean, ultimately, bro, everybody thinks that like if you get elected president, you're like a dictator, you're all powerful. You're not. I mean, you have to work with a bunch of corporate assholes, scumbags, plants.
Lawyers. Fucking lawyers.
Your own party that obstruct you in just about everything you do.
Or do you? Or do you?
I mean, he tried. So he knew after that first year that he wasn't going to get anything done. He wasn't going to be able to govern whatsoever until he started giving them things. So he fired Bannon, brought in Bolton, a couple of these other, neocon scumbags that we dealt with when Bush, W. Bush was president. So mixed bag.
You make a valid point. You make a ridiculously valid point. And in my opinion, I've seen a lot of varying things that scream to me louder than other things that he's done. Right? You only judge a person in politics by their policies, right? The things they've written, the things they've signed. Follow the record, follow the money, and you pretty much can't go wrong. And on this one, I can actually say, like, holy crap, this dude has met, I've said it, I don't know how many times, he's met adversity and crisis through basically deconstricting or taking away all of these, vices that would normally get put on us. 9/11 happened, we had the Patriot Act, right? Everybody typically clamps down. So when all of a sudden, what's that?
I doubt this is really true, but I had to highlight. Did you hear they're giving away free bags of weed with the Wu flu shot in DC?
Nice, nice.
There's a line out the door, right?
mRNA vaccine.
You have to be cracked now. It's just fucking a little bit of weed and some Netflix.
We'll do an Antarctica show at some point. Hopefully, this next couple of days, obviously, just kind of this needs to be our focus.
No, I forgot where I was at. You guys fucking.
Sorry.
No, do your thing.
What about all these executive orders?
Tommy, what do you think about this? Okay, like there's actually running campaigns, right? It's like me and you, if we went and ran for office, we campaign, we rile our base, we tell them the things they want to hear. But there's a difference between campaigning and then once you're elected, you actually have to govern. You have to deal with the quagmire that is Congress.
Okay,
and all the lobbyists and all the corporations that have more influence on our political system than you do.
Tommy and
Eric,
Eric,
you have to find a way to work.
Since you guys didn't listen to that show that me and Phil did, Phil can also talk about it now. But he's going to be apparently running for Congress, I believe, in his area.
It's exploratory right now. District 14 in the state of Illinois against Underwood in 2022. The problem I'm having is there's no way I'm running as a Republican now. So what do? I got to find another party. And I'm not picking what I've seen.
And Phil, that's one thing I can definitely agree with you upon, man, is that the amount of we call them rhinos and, just bad actors in general that are in politics, man. How do you know who to trust? You really can't. You bring people in, and
everybody sells out, it seems.
Oh,
hey,
God, yeah, man.
In Illinois, what does your paperwork look like? What do you have to check that box as to run? Anything?
Yeah.
You have to check it off now?
What's that?
You have to check that box now and then start running to do all your stuff?
Can you change parties while you run?
Yeah. Can you register independent? And then,
you know what? I'm not sure. I don't know the answer.
Double check that stuff because that's the most important thing. The best thing anybody can do right now, never make it a decision in chaos. Just take all your options in, and whatever gives you the best option in 2 days, do that. You know what I mean? Like, just always consider your best option and whether or not it's a finality. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say something about that is I think Sully's right to wait because, look at it, man. We've got 100 million, Americans probably at this point, 80 to 100 million Americans.
It could be anything.
This is actually apparently legit. That
people that are true patriots that, love America, and they're probably going to start their own party, and it's not going to matter anymore. Look at
free.
Cannabis activists in Washington, D.C. are planning to offer a free bag of marijuana to those receiving the vaccine for COVID-19.
Hey,
you know what? If that's your price, fuck, good on you.
Yeah.
Whatever.
What do you guys think about this question? What about this question here that Kat's asking? She's asking, what do we know about impeaching on state levels? I absolutely know jack shit.
The only way you can ever...
Most states have to do recalls. I'm pretty sure you have to do a recall. So like what they're doing in California right now on Gavin Newsom, they've got over 1 million signatures in the state to recall him as governor. I think that's the same way it works with state representatives too, but it has to be in your district.
So once you successfully recall, that ends his term?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let's ask the question, what does she mean by impeach? Impeach the president or recall your governor or a representative?
On state levels, I'm assuming it would just be state positions, which would be like governors and mayors and
So if she's talking about the actual word, we have to look at these things correctly. Impeach. To impeach a president is a certain process given the structure that is the Constitution of the United States. Every state constitution is different. Impeaching is completely different than recalling a governor that was duly elected by the people, right? There's reformations, there's different things that happen, right? So you have to put up petitions in some states, or you just have to have 3 people in state Congress propose it, and then the people start voting on it. So you have to look at your state. I don't know where you're from, but if you're talking about impeaching, it's completely different than recalling, and just understand the verbiage pertaining to that shit. But yes, you also have the convention of the states, which can actually recall a president and a vice president and a chamber at the same time. So,
which is based on Article 5 of the Constitution, and there is
right.
a convention of states that's
Right.
been working on convening, and I think they need 37 states, and they've got 15 signed on at the time. So I am looking into convention of states, as well as all these other things that I've interviewed people and talked about, like American States Assembly, Life Force, the Purple Thumb Club, that kind of stuff, the Quantum Grammar Community, and
Purple Thumbs,
the plethora of freedom groups that are divided like fuck. All right, so I guess what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and wind things down, give everybody a chance to do their final thoughts, and as said person does their final thoughts, I'm gonna pull you off the stream. If you guys can wait for me after we're done, we can holler at each other for a quick second. But
cool.
We'll start off with Phil, then we'll go with Tommy, and then we'll go with Eric, and then I'll close this out.
I'll just close it out with, man, I mean, everybody that's listening right now, the time for excuses and complaining is over. Okay, that's not getting us anywhere. We actually have to be proactive and seriously engage and unify with people that we don't always agree with on the political litmus scale, if you will, or graph. You're going to have to come together, and you're going to have to unify on the things that actually matter, that affect your lives and affect us, and so we get good governance for what we're taxed for. And at this point in time, we're basically, both sides have been pitted against one another with arbitrary, nonsensical bullshit to throw lob grenades at each other and fight wars over the field of battle, when we should be uniting together to going after the true people that have been screwing us for over a century now. And I just think that everybody needs to start figuring out ways to unify. Stop fighting with each other on Facebook. Stop fighting with each other on Twitter. All you're doing is burying all of us in a deeper hole. Got to find ways to unify.
Love it, man. Well said. And again, I want to encourage people to make sure you're checking out Modern Guru's YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. I just shared it, and we have links down below. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe and check out the videos that we did together. Phil, I want to pull you out. Just wait for 1 second. I appreciate you joining the live stream, brother. Much love.
Thanks, guys. Love you.
Tommy P.
Shit, man. I'm just, I think my message to anybody out there right now is to just keep your cool, keep your calm, do whatever you can to relax. Don't believe the hype. Research everything that you do, absolutely everything. And yeah, I mean, right now is the time to just be calm and pay attention, but not just jump into every rabbit hole that you see.
Yeah, no, you cannot jump into every rabbit hole you freaking see. That would be not so smart, would it?
No.
So Tommy is one half of Consent to the Governed. Him and Eric have this awesome YouTube channel. It's a brand new channel. They just started it just a few weeks ago, less than a month ago. Make sure you're heading over to their channel and subscribing to their channel. Show your support. There is a video that the one that we did, I did something with you guys. Yeah, that's not on my channel. That's this one that says Special COG Live. So I encourage people to make sure that they're checking that out, because that is something where they interviewed me on their channel. It's only got 25 views, and I thought I promoted it, but we got to get those views up. So make sure everybody is checking out Consent to the Governed.
Yes.
Trying to get back to my screen here. So you done, Tommy?
Yeah, I'm done, man.
I love you, man. Stay on. You and Phil can hear. Just make sure you guys are like on standby in case some shit really goes down and we just do some special live stream.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
All right, love you, dude.
All right, love, man.
Eric.
I think Phil did a really good job of saying one half what I would have said, and that is be understanding. We're all in a weird spot, so be very understanding and don't just go get into flame wars on Facebook or Twitter and all that jazz. The other thing is the other side of that coin. So the first part of that was be willing to bend. The other part, especially right now, be willing to understand yourself so you know when you break. And that's going to be very important. Everybody over the course of the last 4 or 5 months to 4 to 5 years, sometimes even 2 decades, has been put to the test, and they think that this is going to be the last test. It's not. It's not your last test. Anytime, anyway, whatever the case may be, when we come out of this, just have faith that you as a human and us as humans and this idea of the spirit that is all of us, it's stronger than anything else, and we will get through it, and we will come out the other side because we always do. So the best part in my understanding of the universe and what we're dealing with here is you have to understand yourself and you have to understand your opponent, and then you cannot go wrong. So
The art of war.
the art of war. Indeed,
The
sir.
art of war. Well, dude, always a pleasure, man. I love you. Hang on for a moment. I want to go ahead and wrap this thing up. And I'm going to pull you out. I'll pull all 3 of you guys out. Look at all this power, man. It's pretty cool. I do appreciate everybody for tuning in. I really do mean it. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Live stream this on my YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. I'm also streaming on Twitter via Periscope at RiceTVX and also on float.app, FLOTE.app. Make sure you're checking out Float. It's an awesome social media platform. They promote freedom of speech, and there's some awesome people on that platform. I'm on there, so I would encourage you to check it out. Also, make sure you're checking out and follow me on Library and Odyssey, where I have backups of all my videos, and I also have extra content over there to encourage people to check it out. Content you're not going to see anywhere that's additional. I also encourage you to become a patron. Join my Patreon channel. Links are down below. You can directly support the channel. You get early access to videos. And like I said, I'm going to be doing an interview with Andreas Antonopoulos on Thursday. And that's going to be a recorded interview. So patrons will have early access to that before anybody else does, the unedited raw version. Also, tune in tomorrow, 2:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have the honor and privilege of having Mr. Max Kaiser coming on the show once again for interview number 3, talking about taking the orange pill, the Bitcoin. So I do appreciate everybody for tuning in. I do really appreciate it. If you did not smash out that like button, make sure you smash in that like button. I do appreciate everybody for tuning in. Kay Abhold, Shannon LeGros, Carrie Lake, thank you so much. Dime Bar, Identity Block, Tamara Gamble, Falcon Hoof, so many other people. Freedom, Follow the Money, Kat Peterson, Miss Catherine, thank you as always. I appreciate everybody. Trying to catch a few more names here. A lot of people talking, and I appreciate the chatter inside of this live stream. We've had some awesome people joining us. So again, tune in tomorrow. If you're not subscribed, to make sure you are subscribed. I'm going to go ahead and throw out this outro and it's done. But tune in tomorrow at 2:00 p.m. and stay tuned for any possible emergency broadcast due to ongoing situations in our U.S. political system and everything happening. So as always, I encourage you to be the change by practicing change, and I love you all.